All right. So the background for this episode, if you're looking at this on Patreon through the video format, the background for this episode is actually Dave Chappelle and the guy who assaulted him on stage while he was at Netflix Live or whatever it's called, some kind of comedy festival, let's just say. He was doing live stand up and somebody got up on stage and like assaulted him, attacked him, tried to tackle him, I think. And Dave Chappelle didn't actually get really hurt or anything like that because the security did step in pretty quickly. But the person was able to get all the way to Chappelle and touch him.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Chappelle's just like, I heard some people say the guy had a gun. I'm assuming he didn't, but like, if the guy had a gun or a knife or was just slightly more better with coordination, like he was able to get to him quick enough. Like security didn't stop him from getting to Chappelle. Like
he got to physically touch him. Yes. And that is scary. So I wanted to talk about this a bit because when we did the Chris Rock, Will Smith episode, The Slap Heard Around the World, check that out if you haven't heard it. But that episode, we talked about how it sets a bad precedent for people walking up on stage and attacking comedians. And I didn't think it would happen this quickly. I also didn't think it would happen this quickly to a real big comedian like Dave Chappelle.
I think I said it on the podcast. I said that this is people, because before the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, this didn't have, like, you didn't hear, I can't think of a single story of somebody going on stage and attacking a comedian. Like, heckler, sure. But,
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
heckler is very different from physical, like, assaulting someone. And the guy did have a weapon. They said he had, like, a bayonet or something, which is crazy. But, you know, he made some kind of weapon, I don't know. He had a weapon. He could have done a lot worse than what actually occurred. And that is very fucking scary. Like, the fact that, you know, like we said, Dave Chappelle's security didn't get there fast enough. So if the guy just straight up stabbed Dave Chappelle, like Dave Chappelle would just be fucking stabbed. And that is crazy to me.
And like, he could live a stab, but he could also just die.
Yeah, like that could have been the end of him. So that, I'm not a fan of that. I know that these comedy shows, the really big ones like that, they do have, I assume, security that checks you as you come in. But I don't know how thorough it is. People always know how to be crafty with sneaking in things.
Yeah.
You see leaked footage of comedy specials that shouldn't exist because people have to put their phones away, but somehow you still end up seeing leaked footage of certain jokes. So like, but basically, humans will human. They're going to sneak shit in. And it's just scary to know that people are already starting to attack comedians, especially as big. Like Dave Chappelle's probably the biggest comedian in the world right now. Like him and Kevin Hart are top two easily.
Yeah. I honestly say, like, I know some people were saying that, like, it's not the case, but I think they're delusional. I truly think Will Smith shares some of the blame for this. I think he set a precedent and made it almost feel like it was okay, right? Because, like, and also we said this, all three of us said this in the Will Smith, Chris Rock episode, that you're not Will Smith. You're not going to get away with it the way he did.
Yeah, this guy went back to his seat and sat down. Nothing happened to him,
and won an Oscar. And won an Oscar after. If you see the picture of this guy, my man's arm looks like it goes in 4 directions. Like, it is crazy the ass whooping he got.
Yeah, just Google Dave Chappelle attacked on stage, and literally that, you will see all these pictures of the actual guy who did it and how fucked up he got from Dave's security. They mangled him. He has one eye completely shut. Under that eye is super bruised and like you can see it dry blood. His arm, one of his arms is literally bent backwards. It's broken in so many different ways. It's crazy. He's on a stretcher. He's on a stretcher.
Wild. His shoulder, his arm, he is
his nose. His nose is bloody. His lips, everything. Like he's fucked up bad. Like they fucked him up bad. But I think that, you know, as cool as it is to show this guy got his ass beat really bad, I don't think that's gonna be enough of a deterrent. One, he's still alive, and I don't want anybody to get killed. He's still alive, and he kind of got away with it because he did fully get to touch Dave Chappelle. Like he fully got to do
that's the scary
something
part
to Dave Chappelle. That is the part that really is triggering. Is to me is that how easy it was, and this is what's happening. It's showing people that it's possible. It's showing people that you can just run up on stage and security might not get there for a good 10 seconds. You got a good 10 seconds to do something crazy. It's just really, really bad that you realize that somebody as big as Dave Chappelle is that easy to touch.
There used to be a prestige or a mystique. It's interesting, like there's a mystique to the Oscars. There's this idea that
there's a mystique to the stage itself.
To the stage, there's no way you could get all the way up. You know what I mean? But like you can.
Yes.
and you can get all the way up there, and you can successfully pull it off before they get you. So like that mystique's been kind of broken. And I
Yeah,
know
Dave Chappelle, he took it kind of well, but
he took
it
it
doesn't
well,
make it
yeah,
okay.
but um,
Yeah, and I mean some of the other comedians when Will Smith did what he did, a lot of other comedians did speak out about this happening going forward. Some of them were like about it, saying if you run up on stage on me, this is what's gonna happen. But I think that at the end of the day, no one's really prepared for that situation in reality. It's just because it's not something that you see normally.
yeah.
And I think that after that slap, now the doors are open for people to try that. So we'll see. Maybe security will be really, really ramped up going forward. I imagine Dave
Maybe,
Chappelle's
but
going to
it
use
depends on who you are, right? Like, sure, Dave
that.
Chappelle could
So
get super security, but
exactly.
not every comedian can do that.
Yeah, that's another thing that sucks. So if a comedian makes a joke that somebody doesn't like, are they just supposed to expect to be physically assaulted because someone didn't like what they heard? Like, is that where we're at? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
because that seems ridiculous to me that you go to a comedy show and they might make a joke about something that you didn't care for, and it could be anything. Like, I know that they talk about Dave Chappelle all the time, talking about LGBT stuff, but like, there's all kinds of jokes that people find offensive because anyone can be offended by anything, and you can't tell a person how to feel. I get that, but
there's an amazing episode of comedians in cars getting coffee. It's Seinfeld's show. It's Seinfeld. Yep. He gets various comedians. They always drive in a different car and they hang out. There's an episode with Steve Harvey on it. And they talk about how Steve Harvey said a joke one time where he creates these fictional characters, and basically, I think the joke had something to do with like somebody drunk driving and like drunk driving in a car crash, right?
Yeah.
That's not race, that's not sexuality, that's not religion, that's not all of these things. But even that joke got somebody to come super offended, to yell at him, and to the point where he got so much flack over it, if I remember correctly, that he ended up having to publicly apologize. And it's like, that's such a non-specific joke, but like, the point is, anything you say will offend someone because you just have every circumstance ever has happened to someone. So like, you're going to say a joke, it's going to offend somebody, and then like, you're going to be dealing with shit. Steve Harvey said, if I didn't have a talk show, I wouldn't have apologized. But because I'm part of daytime television, etc., he was like, fuck it, I just apologized. But he was like, if I was a pure stand-up, I would have told her, watch what I say tomorrow.
Yes.
But the point is, anybody can be offended by anything. And so it's just not fair to place all these crazy rules on comedians and then for them to also expect to get just assaulted for words. It's just...
Yeah, I don't think you should be assaulted for doing a comedy show. If you showed up to my comedy show, I just think that's a bit ridiculous, right? To go to something and be like, I don't like the outcome, so I'm going to attack the person. That's just fucking insane. That is insane. That's mental health issues right there. Like that, if you think that that's okay, like you have issues. Period. Yeah, so that I just wanted to get that out. I've been wanting to talk about that because it happened so fast, technically, after Will Smith and Chris Rock. It didn't take very long for somebody to immediately... And at first, there was a part of me that thought, like, maybe this was like a setup. Maybe this was something where Netflix or whoever paid the guy to run up on stage, do no actual damage, but then get his ass beat just so that it could be used as a joke later on or something like that. But I thought about how ridiculous even that sounds. And the only reason I even had this thought is because, one, a lot of things that you see in Hollywood are engineered, right? That's not unheard of. But when I looked at how bad this guy got hurt, again, he is fucked up so bad. He also
got handcuffed and like taken the... I mean, I don't know what the result of his like crimes were, but he got handcuffed and assumedly, spent the night in jail or whatever, right? And
I just can't imagine that somebody would accept what happened to him. They like stomped him out. It looks like he got jumped.
He got fucked up. I think Dave Chappelle even got a couple kicks in based on the video.
Yeah, I want to say that the way this guy looks, I don't think anybody would volunteer for this personally. It would have to be a really crazy check, and even then, this just does not look like something that I would want to partake in unless, I guess, millions of dollars. But again, who's doing all of that?
He's not getting millions. That's the thing, though, right? Yeah. Like he's not even getting millions of dollars. But that's the thing. I think the conclusion is it's not fake.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But I did see that's what people thought. Like, oh, this is so staged. You know, that's the first thing people just like. Okay, when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I thought that shit was staged.
I thought it was staged until I saw the video.
Until I saw the video where he said, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." That's when it became real. But before that, when he walked up, slapped him, then he did the little thing with his jacket and then turned around, walked away. Every moment of that I thought was staged. Like I thought every part of it, the sound it made, the way Chris Rock kind of jerked from the hit. And then Will Smith kind of walked away. It looked like he was smiling still to me to this day. Like it just kind of looks like he had a smirk on his face. I thought the whole thing was a joke. I was like, oh, this is a skit. This is like a stage thing, whatever. And then it didn't become real until I saw the unedited version where he gets back to a seat and starts screaming and everyone's quiet. And it became extremely awkward.
Yeah.
So I could see how, people might think like something like this is staged. And that's what I saw a lot in the comments. But then again, after looking at the way they did this guy afterwards, I just don't think that that's the case. I think that this is very real. I think that somebody was crazy. They also said this guy wrote a Dave Chappelle song way back when on SoundCloud. So
that's the scary thing about fame. Like there's those people that like.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.